I guess we are. Yes, we are now recording. Hi, everybody. Today is October the 19th, 2015. And for me, it is a declutter day. This is my third blab, all about decluttering. My name is Elaine Nieberding. My Twitter handle is @LaughingElaine, and I called myself that because I like to laugh and help bring joy, more joy into my lives and into the lives of others. But it's a decision. A lot of us just walk around in this life believing they have to take everything very seriously. But my motto is let's find unifying solutions through play. So I'm a holistic nurse. I'm a teacher of intentional laughter practice for health. And so we might weave some of that on in today into this program. So I'm going to start out, especially for people who haven't watched, may have watched some of the previous shows. I started this series because I was getting too far through the year with no progress or not much progress on my decluttering. And I fully understand how human beings have the best of intentions, but a lot of defense mechanisms that keep things from moving forward. So I decided if I would go public with this and invite support, because nearly everybody has stuff to declutter, whether it's, the clutter in your home, your clothes, or your computer files, or even managing your contacts. We have to find ways to get to handle these things and hopefully experience more joy in the process. And so what I'd like to share with some of you who are watching, maybe for the first time, this is a little graphic that I created with two quotes from Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein. And it basically is this. I'm doing the kind of the low-tech, high-tech mode here, holding up my iPhone, since I can't quite screen share yet. But this says, insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But he also said, out of clutter, find simplicity. And so how do we do that? Well, my take is I think we might be a little better at succeeding with it and bringing more joy into our lives if we do it together. So welcome, those of you that are here. I think in the last couple weeks we've had maybe 70 or 80 people come by these different blabs. And I especially want to thank my friends and flock over from Google Plus who have come on over here or have watched some of the replays that have also been uploaded to YouTube. So let's get this party started. I just want to start by acknowledging Boomy Benjamin. Hey, Boomy, you are here, baby, showing up live, and I love it. And we're getting acquainted for the first time. And Jim Sharp, we've known each other for quite a good while over on Google Plus, and it's always wonderful to see you flocking over here on Blab. So, as I will be known to do throughout my programs, I will be reminding people from time to time, and especially when any new person comes onto the screen to join into the conversation, we'll be asking people to tell a little bird. All of this, we have to get comfortable with what some even call shameless self-promotion, meaning you have to be confident about what your message is, and you want to magnetize to you those who could benefit from being part of the conversation. So I'm not just going to say tell a little bird. I'm gonna hold up my little owl here. There's an owl icon for for Blab, and say who else will come by. So please do invite some folks to come on by. And I quickly want to acknowledge once again my friends from Google Plus. Google Plus is still a great place. Who have said yes or maybe for today. Kellen Flukiger, Jim Sharp. Hi, Jim. Jeffrey Wayne Creech, Molly Youngblood Geiger, Charles Dunkley, Carolyn Owens, Vertex Draco, Jaroslav Matua, Scott Scowcroft, hi Scott, Dave Pipe, Andrew Hatchett, Jeremy Murphy. Oh boy, he was a great sidekick for my first 2 shows. Maybe he'll pop on in. Ross Betts, Lon McClure, Paul Erno Rostas, and Missy J. And so I'm going to start off, just since Boomy is here. Boomy, I'm wondering if you know anything about the KonMari tidying up method, which is now a New York bestseller, New York Times bestseller. And a lot of folks are finding this method unique because it provides a series of steps to do this, not just to declutter your house and shift your way of thinking and experience more joy, but actually establish new habits, and in the process of doing this thing, really create a whole reconfigure your environment and your life, because what you're getting at is letting go of everything by category, that does not spark joy. So she actually tells us that this process can take like 6 to 9 months. And so you might take some pictures as you go along, like I have done. She suggests that going through this process is not by just picking a room and starting there and sorting stuff out. She suggests that we can be the most effective if we go through this process by category. And she actually starts with clothing because, clothing items aren't so rare. There are other functional items in your house or mementos that it's a lot trickier to sort and pare down. Even books. Books is kind of like next on the list to declutter. And what she suggests that we do is actually gather, you have to find a space, gather all of the things of that category and put them in that space. And become aware, in fact, get shocked by how much stuff you actually have. And so I made the decision last week that I was going to get started with this process. And I thought I was going to actually have it done sometime between Tuesday and Friday of next week. Well, it didn't happen. There were some things came up, and I did not think I could get done before I needed to use the guest room in my house, where I could actually put up, I could gather all my clothes. So I had a house guest this weekend, my brother. He was in town to help celebrate the 50th anniversary of my sister and brother-in-law. But this morning, I gathered my clothes in my guest room. And so here we go. This is the before. I have not yet started it out, but I am going to have fun going through this with the method that Marie Kondo has suggested. So those are all the things from my closet. And I have a couple of other baskets that have, underwear and sweaters in them. And I actually have 2 other suitcases with other seasonal clothes that aren't yet in the room, but they will be shortly. So when I finish this blab today, and I'm aiming to go for about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how many people are here, then I am going to go in and start that process and at least do it for a couple hours. So what does anybody think? I'm going to open up this seat and see who would like to join the conversation. We have it open. So Boomy Benjamin is saying she's starting to breathe a little better as I declutter. I wish I could. I do not have a camera mic. Okay. Well, thanks for being honest about that. Maybe at some point you will. But thank you for being here and at least being part of this energy, this container, this space where perhaps you'll gain a little bit of insight or a little motivation to get the process started. Among the things that Marie Kondo suggests that we do are buy black trash bags. And as you go along, sorting out what you want to keep and what you want to let go of, and what you want to keep because it sparks joy. And we'll get a little bit more into that in just a moment. She suggests we have 2 black trash bags, to start out with. One which will be items which will be maybe donated, and other things which plainly are going to go into the trash. She does suggest that we actually put them into, containers that are opaque, and that's so we won't go back and be tempted to go back and re-examine, did I make the right decision? But also, if other people come by, family members, mother-in-law, girlfriend, oh, you're doing this Marie Kondo declutter thing. How's it going? And if they see boxes or bins with stuff and say, you couldn't give that away, hey, the process is going to be slowed down, and basically it's your project. It's not their project. So you got to get grounded in your own intention that it's really time to do this. So, why do we want to do this? Why do I want to do this? I realize that for years, a lot of the reasons I bought stuff was to escape dealing from other things that I just plumb didn't want to deal with. Well, I was at my own leading edge. That's where I was. So it doesn't do me any good to beat myself up now. What it is good for me to do is celebrate and recognize that I'm making a healthy decision. As I physically declutter and bring a new space into my home, a space where everything that I am choosing to keep is here because it sparks joy, and I'll be living more and more a life of everything around me represents beauty, function, and an experience with it where I'll even call it, I'm having a holy relationship with it. I'm really deeply appreciating what it's there for me to use, express, and actually help serve on in the world. And so we have some other people who have joined in. Kevin Scullion joined in. Hey there, Kevin. Kevin, your name, I don't know. You're from the PPP Insiders, host of Passing Places Around Scotland. How about that? It's a podcast diary of my ongoing travels around the country. So what I love about Blab is that we truly can have a global audience. And I first came to experience that over on Google Plus, where I do host an ongoing show that airs on YouTube and Google Plus called The Holy Shift Show. And once again, there, my intention is let's gather together to talk about and find unifying solutions through play. These times we're living in are really something. And if you don't have a well-stocked toolkit to help you come up with helpful responses, often in the midst of chaotic situations you can't control, then you might not just be as effective or as happy or as helpful as you could be. So perhaps some of you will join me over on some of those programs or visit my YouTube channel. And my name is Elaine, Elaine, and Nieberding, N like Nancy, Ieberding. Okay. What I want to take a minute to talk about is the word freedom. It was really interesting how some, I think, 33 years ago, I married the guy that I'm still married to. His name is of German origin, Nieberding. And it might have been about 15 years after we were married that we went over to Germany for a worldwide Nieberding family reunion. Imagine that with this strange name. There were actually 250 people from around the world that gathered in a place close to where the family had originated from like the mid 1400s. And we came to learn the history of this name. Nieberding actually means home of the new free place. And apparently, there would be rich landowners who also had people who were indentured to them to work, to slave, to whatever. But this one baron, this one gentleman, decided he really wanted to give all of those who were, working for him their own land, that they could actually call their own, for their own farming, to build their own homestead. And and so some of the people who had this experience then took this name, which came to mean home of the new free place that I have. And so I have come to recognize that when I am not experiencing a sense of freedom about something, it's because I'm caught in thoughts that aren't serving me well, that I'm still believing. So often, as we go through this process of decluttering, it's kind of important to notice, what are the thoughts that I have about my clutter, about the stuff that I've collected in my life? Do I have inner dialogue going on, telling myself I'm bad, for the choices I made, about the stuff that I bought, or maybe too much money that I spent, or how I went into debt, or whatever. But it really takes a decision to free yourself of those thoughts and adopt more helpful thoughts and relationships as you go through this purging, decluttering process to create a whole new environment. So let's see. Kevin is still here. Thank you. We do have an open seat, and so I would love it for anyone to please come on and join in this conversation, because for all who watch it live or replay, it'll be a little more fun if it's not just me. It's always helpful if people who do come by to view help the process by tweeting this on out. So for those, Boomy tweeted it on out. Thank you, Boomy. And so others who even are watching it replay, if you're watching this replay on Blab, the Tell a Little Bird button is still there. So if you're enjoying the content and want to get involved with this conversation and this topic and invite other people so it'll be lively, do tweet it on out. Okay, so Boomy is saying, yes, you are most welcome. Well, thank you very much. Okay, so what I want to go over now is Marie Kondo, who's the author, once again, of this book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, the Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing. #1 New York Times bestseller, 3 million copies sold. She suggests that when we have our collection of things to sort through, and we definitely need to, get into this whole process and get comfortable with discarding, but our focus is on the discarding so that we're really determining the things we're keeping really spark joy. If this were a hat, if I had a bunch of hats in front of me, I might look at the pile of hats or pick each one up and have a memory or a thought, or an intellectual process going on about the utility of the item. But she really encourages us to get into not just a thinking process to decide what we're going to keep. She really suggests that everything has an energetic component to it that will help and support us living a life of joy, or being in that joy vibration, and living in more happiness and fulfillment. And she says, pick up the item and close your eyes and feel for something that feels like a zing, something that's saying yes. Yeah, you're the right thing to keep, to continue to enjoy. Now, it's entirely likely that your mind and your emotions are going to match that. But if you're willing to play with that process, and some people, like I do energy healing, I'm very sensitive to qualities of subtle energy. So when I go through my stack of sweaters, blouses, pants, coats, God, I have a lot of coats. I'm going to look, and maybe I'll even sort by logic and utility first, but then I'm going to go through and I really am going to ask, trusting that I'm going to have a sense of yes or zing when I pick up and hold it and feel into it. For me, because of the belief system I hold, you could say I'm really inviting in divine assistance as I do this process. I have a sense that my reason for being here on the planet is to help people connect with their deepest core of being that's really connected to a higher power. There's a reason we're here on the planet at this time. And there are unique ways, gifts, and talents which we can connect with each other and serve each other. But plainly, if I'm to do that more effectively and with more joy, I got to thin stuff out, and I can certainly see the patterns that I have with clothes and overflow of stuff go into all areas of my life. It's time to simplify, because as I say, you can't take it with you. Well, you can't take it with you out of this physical realm. So anyway, so I want to feel into that process, and I believe I can do it. Let's see who else is here. We see, I see, Kevin Scullion. That was very nice of you to tweet. I appreciate that a lot. And if I had my Hangout window open, I would right now make a sound of clapping or trumpets in recognition of you tweeting this out. That's very nice. Okay. And Boomy has invited a few, so that's good. It occurs to me, as I make a commitment to do this decluttering process, it's helpful for me to be aware. There are days when I'm going to be purging in a different category. I may be interrupted. So when I select the space, when I'm going to put out, all my books or all my clothes to sort through them, that I may have interruptions. And if I have an interruption, let's say I block out 4 days, 4 hours to go through this clothing. And I'll probably be underestimating the amount of time, that it's going to take. But if I block out 4 hours, and let's say I get a call from the homestead of my mother and father. Dad is 97. Mother's 96. They live in an independent living apartment about a half an hour away from me. And I am very involved in participating in their some of their daily care, 3 to 4 days a week. And then there are other people who assist with that. But when folks have had all, stuff comes up, stuff happens, stuff that I need to be aware of, stuff that sometimes I have to shift my attention and beeline down the highway and be somewhere else. So if those interruptions come up, an interruption with another business thing that I might have to attend to, when I have that interruption from my discarding, my sorting, my clearing, my finding the spark joy items, I need to decide when I'm returning and renew my commitment, and also congratulate myself for, actually getting some of the work done. We all too often just put ourselves down about how we do stuff. And the truth is, we need to lift ourselves up. So one of the things that I am doing and weaving on into this activity of decluttering my home and going deeper and deeper week by week into the guidance suggested by Marie Kondo's book, I'm going to weave laughter into this practice. Some of you may know that I'm a holistic nurse, but I also in 2011 became a leader and teacher of the health and wellness practice known as laughter yoga. And laughter yoga emerged in 1995 through medical doctor, Dr. Madan Kataria. And he recognized that, just too many people were walking around without living enough from a place of joy. And he recognized in his own life that when he moved from the rural area where he grew up into the urban area where he did studies and then began his practice at a doctor, the pace of life and the pressures he had were very different. He realized he just wasn't laughing anymore. And he actually began study into the research, which was just then emerging about the nature of human laughter. And he came to understand that there was actually physiological benefits that happen from this physical stuff of laughing. He also learned that the same physiological benefits of laughing would happen whether someone was hearing a joke, responding to something that was conditioned and funny, or whether they were just kind of laughing to fake it till you make it. And so he developed this process called laughter yoga, where you're laughing for no reason, or you're bringing laughter to any and all circumstances. And think about it, babies, when they're about 2 months old, they start laughing on their own. And they're just filled with the joy of being alive. They're not laughing because they get jokes, but our sense of joy tends to just get conditioned out of us. As we get older, as we grow on out of childhood and into this adult period of working and responsibility. So doing an intentional laughter practice is one way to actually rejuvenate your body, shift your mood, shift your body chemistry. And as I approach my decluttering, I've decided, I may go in the room and look at it, take a deep breath, smile, and go, ha, 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 ha. Look at all the stuff I have created, collected, and I can, yes, I can, for the next, number of hours that I'm going to do my sorting and discrimination process. Every time I think I'm getting bogged down with a thought that is not helping me, I can deep breathe, smile, and continue to laugh. When you think about it, most of the time when we are breathing, especially here in the West, and we're not paying attention to our breathing consciously, we're only using about the top 25% of our lung capacity. But yet there is more air in there, and it's kind of like stale air. And unless you are laughing heartily or crying heartily, it's like you don't even get that stale air out. So I could say hearty laughing is even kind of like the same process of decluttering. You're getting rid of the stale stuff. So I'm just going to do it one more time. And Marie, thank you, Boomy Benjamin, for putting the link on up to this book. Before I go off air, what I will do today is I will add some other links to some of the YouTube videos which are out there, which are helpful. I have watched a few of them, and there are some people that are life coaches, and they want to provide support to people who, when there are issues and things that they're struggling with, when there's some clarity on some of those things they want to work on. Some coaches want to be effective and help people develop new habits, let go of old habits, and just do a better job of it. So some coaches are actually doing the same process in their own homes. They're videoing it, showing their befores and afters. And these are also helpful tools to kind of help see the process as it goes along. Now, Marie Kondo actually does suggest to us that we should, it's helpful if we envision kind of what we would like our space to look like in the future. I have found that's even hard for me still. But last week in the conversation that was here, and Chef Dennis Litley, a well-known Google Hangout host who's now very active here on Blab, he joined the conversation, and he and I were talking about what it's like when you go on vacation or you go into a hotel room, and it's clean and it's sleek and it's uncluttered. And maybe you feel a sense of openness and spaciousness in that space. I know for me, if I take, one or two suitcases and I'm going to be someplace for maybe 3 or 4 days, I pack my suitcases. And when I get there, I have so much fun, like unpacking my suitcase, arranging everything neatly in the drawers, and hanging stuff up in the little closet, maybe opening the slider doors if I have a, panoramic view on something like the ocean or a nice vista at the place I'm staying. And now that's a feeling that I really can get back in touch with. I can get back in touch with that. And I think that's the feeling that I kind of want to bring back to myself. Oh, I know when I go on a trip or on a vacation, typically I'm functioning really well with far fewer belongings. And there are some people whose jobs and businesses have them traveling a lot. They come to realize they can do pretty well with a limited number of clothing, a limited number of files. They learn how to do things compactly. They learn how to access, even files and other stuff like that in the cloud now. So these are some of the awarenesses that have come to me that I need to use as I move on forward. So I am going to actually tell a little bird, maybe I can see if some other folks might come on by. On any given day that a host is doing a blab, some days you have a lot of folks jump on in. Other days, there are other blabs going on at the same time that have a lot of drawing power. And that may be what's actually going on today, here on Monday, October the 19th, 2015. So I'm wondering, Boomy is saying there she loves Chef Dennis. Chef Dennis has a rather neat setup. He will actually, using 2 Twitter accounts, he will have one camera, like on him, and then he'll have another camera, with the other like open seat. He'll have that one come in, and he'll have that camera then focused in on his prep area or cooking area. And I was pleased. I've been pleased to join in on a few of his shows because I learned stuff too. I learned stuff too. Oh, so Boomy's telling me I'm okay. I'm doing good. This is actually nearly the first time on Blab that I've been having this much of a monologue. So, hello. And somebody else showed up. So let's see who's here. And that is Jim Chandler. Hey, he actually uses the word laugh. So I love this. So I'm going to read this again. Hi, Jim. Endeavoring to live, love, laugh, learn, and leave a legacy, and encouraging others to do the same. So I can see that you are rather new on Blab. You have 5 followers and you're following 4, but you are here, and hopefully you will catch some of the spirit of what we're talking about in this whole thing about decluttering. We all have stuff, mental clutter, emotional clutter, and to the extent that we have a lot of that, we may have a lot of physical clutter too. Now, what I have come to understand, we often can go on for years, decades, really being very comfortable and okay with the amount of stuff we have. And then it begins to get to be a point where we can't find stuff, or we just really recognize, there's something calling from the core of our heart that says, it's time to simplify. And that's certainly going on for me. So, Jim, I don't know if you've been on a Blab before, but you are welcome to join on in. We have an open seat. Basically, if you have a webcam that has a mic, you can join on in. Usually when anybody clicks to come on in, we rather quickly see whether they have enough bandwidth, for that to work on out. And if you're rather new to Blab, then who knows, it may take watching a few before you feel primed, ready to jump on into the conversation, but maybe at some point in time you'll be ready to do that. Blab is an amazing social platform. I have found it just wonderful, and especially wonderful because the development team of Blab, Team Blab, really interface with the shows and the audiences, and have continually been asking for, what are you enjoying? What are you having trouble with? If I'm having technological trouble, I can type in my message line, just like @help, and I'll have somebody from the Blab team typically jump on in to help me. Now, there is actually a new feature. The look of Blab, from a desktop anyway, right now, has changed a little bit. And if you don't like the blackness of the screen, what you can actually do in the message line is type / and then light, the word light, LIGHT, and hit enter. And that will make, on the right-hand side of the screen, to the right of the video panel, it will make the comment stream, the comment and questions panel white. I'd also like to let you know that if you want to ask any questions, if you type question, if you type / and then Q and spacebar, and then your question will actually come up within the panel, highlighted, and as a host, I can then see that easily. If you want to respond to anyone that is in the comment stream, and some Blabs you will go to, there will certainly be a whole lot of chatter and conversation going on. If someone has a comment that you like, you can take your little cursor and hit the star next to their name by their comment. And if you want to respond to them in the chat stream, then you can hit the little curvy arrow, and that will populate their Twitter handle down below in the send a message line, and you can then add additional words or responses to the person who's talking there. So once again, let's see, Boomy is here. This Boomy Benjamin. I sure do appreciate you helping me say I have an audience. Yay! Anyway, so Boomy, have you ever asked a question on a blab? Do you have any questions about the Marie Kondo method? I'm wondering if you do. While I am waiting to see if she might have a question, I'm just going to help educate the replay audience about some of the chapter titles in this book. There is an introduction, and Marie Kondo talks about her background growing up. She, from a youth, from, maybe around age 8, 9, or 10, really found she liked to tidy. She liked to tidy on up. And then she found she wanted to study about all different ways that people tidied up and cleaned up. And she examined her own, processes about that and her relationship with the things she owned. And it evolved into her trying different methods, but then finding what methods seemed to work best. And then she went on to gain a private clientele who she would work with for a period of 6 to 9 months. So the first questions are, why can't I keep my house in order? She says, you can't tidy if you've never really learned how. And a tidying marathon doesn't cause rebound. Tidy a little a day and you'll be tidying forever. But she does say why you should aim for perfection. And that's a vision that you have about having a place of beauty. The moment you start, you reset your life. And indeed, that's what I'm doing. And I hope more folks will join me here. She says, storage experts are hoarders. How about that? And she tells us when we get this process started, sort by category, not by location. And she suggests we get started with clothing first. Don't change the method to suit your personality. Well, I tend to do that. I tend to try things out and then kind of work them out my own way, or weave 3 different methods together. And maybe that's why my decluttering has, or house reorganizing or creating a place of beauty has never quite worked. Let's see. I see there is a question now. How do you handle discouragement in the middle of decluttering a room? Some people may be overwhelmed during the process. Okay. Think about where the overwhelm comes from. The overwhelm must have attached to it a thought of guilt, judgment, and I'll never get this done. So all of that thought in the moment is linked back to beliefs about the past, bringing into this present moment thoughts of how you failed before, not only in maybe the arena of decluttering, but in any other area where you started something out and you just didn't make traction and you failed. So all you can say is, you say, in this moment, I'm going to try. If you are a person of spirit or faith or wisdom, you could say, let me draw to me, let me be nourished by the spirits of all the people who have learned how to tidy. Maybe there are tidying angels I can call into this space to help keep me focused and encouraged as I go along. And let me simply realize that at any given moment, as I look at, let's say, the room with the clothes purge that I'm getting ready to do, and I showed this early on, as I mentioned, okay? So like these are my coats. They're all heaped up on a dresser. I could look at that pile of coats and say, oh my God, I have so many coats. I can look at the coats and say, look, they're all just neutral. They're all just made of atoms and stuff. And I am the one that assigns meaning to each and every one of these. Well, right now, I'm just going to declare they're all neutral. They're just all neutral. But as I approach this pile, I am just going to call on my heart, my spirit to say, and I'll even say, in the mind of God, there's a perfect number of coats for me to have to live in more joy and really appreciate what I have. And I'm going to find that. And I'm going to experience, I'm going to open the window up for that sense of support. Like my declutter angels got my back. They're going to see me through this. And that's how I'm thinking. So once again, as I finish, after I finish this blab today, I am going to be going in the other room. I am going to, let me flip this over. Okay. I am going to go through, I'm going to ask my inner guidance, like what pile should I start with? And actually in my closet, because it was fun for me, I mostly have my clothes like hanging by color. So all the things that are kind of reds and oranges and yellows, they're together. And then I have blues together, and then whites and beiges together, and then blacks and browns. So on the bed, they're kind of that way. So I'm gonna follow just my intuitive and gut response about where to start, and I'll see how that goes. So I see a couple other people have joined. Jeremy Murphy is here. Hi, Jeremy. And Jeremy, if you feel like joining the conversation, I'd be more than happy to have you join in. Jeremy, I've shown a couple pictures. Here we go again. This is the room right next to this one. It's the guest room. It has, I would say, 90% of my clothes right there. And so when I'm done with this blab, I'm going to go in and hold up the items. Like if this were a hat, I'll be holding on to it and saying, does this one spark joy? So here comes Jeremy. Hello,
hi, Wayne.
bro.
How are you doing?
Well, it's been rather like a monologue today. I've had this lovely gal here, Boomy Benjamin. Hello, Boomy, who's been keeping me company, and Jim Sharp was here for a while, and one other guy from Scotland was here. So that's neat, and maybe a couple other, actually 19 people have kind of popped in and out, and sometimes you read them and sometimes you miss them. Oh, Mistovsky Kanyan is here, or was here. Oh, I missed her. Well, hi, bye. Anyway, so I'm here. And last week, Jeremy, when we were talking, we really got to appreciate exploring this whole idea of belongings and how we value them and how much we need to live, because we had Richard from Ghana in our conversation.
Right.
And that was really rich and really thought provoking about how many people on the planet live with very little. And it may be even too little for, for comfort and a sense of beauty and joy. But man, we just got so much shift stuff. So how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? I'm sorry I'm so late. It's just been one of those Mondays where I have lots of work to do, and I thought I'd just at least pop in for a while.
You didn't sign a contract, Jeremy.
I know. I've been, I've been out of town for a couple days. So I'm trying to catch up from that too. So
yeah.
Are you going like closet by closet, or how are you deciding which clothes to attack first?
No.
I was curious about that.
Remember, I will remind you. I've said this before, but apparently it didn't lodge in your gray matter.
I probably forgot.
That.
Sorry.
Hey, well, with a lot of stuff, it needs repeating again and again. So,
very true.
Yep. Marie Kondo says the way that this is effective is by going with categories. So you like start with clothes, and then you start with books, and then you start with, no, she has her list. She says, clothes are a good thing to start with because, they're not so rare.
True.
When you get into books, they're more specialized. When you get into memorabilia, oh man, that stuff is harder to let go of, because there are a lot of these emotional memories and attachments. And I'll be interested, to look at specific guidance and the guidance of those who like done this, like in a kitchen. When you go through a kitchen, well, like, okay, all your pots and pans you're going through, or, all your utensils. You might think, what have I used and what I haven't used? And Chef Dennis was even talking about this last week. But with your clothes, you gather them all in one room. Give yourself like a chunk of time and a place kind of where you can do it. And maybe for some people, they may have to modify the method if they don't have like a room where they can gather all the stuff. But she suggests there is a method to this madness, her way of doing it. When you gather all the clothes you have in one place, you really see how flocking much stuff you have.
What about shoes? Are you including shoes as part of this, or is that just a different category?
Well, it's a subcategory. I didn't move my shoes into the room yet.
Okay.
And, as it turns out, in both my shoes and in my clothing, about 3 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, as it was just, I need to get some fall clothing out.
Yeah.
Because it's getting colder and I need them. And a lot of the, these tank tops, these summer things, these shorts, maybe I could keep one pair of shorts out, but the rest I need to put away. So I did a sort, and I had, I collected one box full of stuff that I already decided I was thinning down.
Good.
But like yesterday, I guess I just found some article. It wasn't a YouTube video, but it was just somebody's blog where they were writing about doing this process.
Sure.
And they were showing like their closet when they were done, and the stuff hanging and kind of organized, and far fewer things, and even like space between the hangers. And it was interesting to just picture it. Now, it may go in stages, but we can get inspired, if we see other people, how they're doing it.
Yeah. And
when you read some of the testimonials of people who say they went through the process and it really did, it completely, they developed entirely different habits. We also, we were so lucky to talk with Bill Graham Twitter handle, Bill Does Belize, because he shared this amazing story with us about he and his wife really wanted a major life overhaul, wanted to live simply and also economically, with from a place of small means.
Yep.
And they went through and they got rid of everything except like 2 suitcases and moved to Belize to like start over. Now, that's a different kind of method than staying in your own same home,
Yeah.
and sorting through the stuff. And especially if you have family and kids, that's a different thing. So
well, hopefully, I'm hoping that we can find that in making things simpler, that we can still find some abundance, because there's some fear on my part that if you part with things that, the simplicity will result in something else.
I'm so glad you just talked about the whole thing about abundance. I think when we get more practiced into saying, I really am worthy of having everything I need and the right amount of things I need at the right time to extend my perfect gifts and service into the world.
Right.
And as individual egos, we tend to think we individually have to figure everything out and we're responsible for all of it.
Right.
And when we do that, we then are in the place where we're disconnecting ourselves from the grand dance going on here in the cosmos, where we can just be aware how every need can be met, and often in ways far easier than we imagined and in magical ways. I've had enough experiences in my life where, I had a need, I had no clue about it, but I just kind of let go my attachment that I completely had to take all the steps or all the actions to figure it out. And then very casually, you just notice you happen upon a person or a circumstance, and the thing shows up or the person shows up, or you're having a casual conversation and the need is just met immediately right there. And then then I say, there is a God.
Yep.
And I got his angels and his minions at my back.
True.
And so if we let go of stuff and say, most of the meanings we attach to things then relate to scarcity. If I don't have it when I need it, then what's going to happen? Then I'm going to have to scramble. Oh, then I'm going to have to buy it again. Oh, then it's going to cost more than when I got it from, than when I found it at a yard sale, at a great deal, in a great condition.
Right.
And these are all thoughts related to a scarcity consciousness rather than an abundance consciousness. So.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think, I'm sensing some aspects of scarcity that still remain in myself. And I think as part of doing this, if you're serious about it, you really have to sweep all that out or destroy it. I don't know, maybe destroy is too strong a word. Maybe just sweeping it out with a broom is a better way to put it. But
hey, Skip Beaver made it on over here. Hi, Skip. I think thank you so much over on Google Plus for expressing your interest. And Skip, did you actually watch some of the earlier shows? Remind me, because I forgot. And we do have an extra seat, so we would.
I think he might have been on the previous one, maybe. But there were so many people on the previous one, I couldn't keep up with them all.
There were a lot, actually. Like in terms of stats. We had 56 people during the live show come by. Now, There were four replays and 18 shares. And today is what it is.
Right.
Also, we're not going on for 2.5 hours.
No,
I
don't
have
have that kind of
decided
time today.
I'm not going to do that. First of all, I don't dare tie you up. And the other thing is, I think for people who might want to visit this frequently or or get some value out of the replay, they're more likely to come and tune into a replay that's a half an hour, 45 minutes,
You're
than
right.
one that's like two and a half flocking hours long.
Well, we had to cover the waterfront. It took a little while, it took a little while.
So, Ms. Bowie Benjamin said, "Destroy it." Destroy what? The room is full today. Oh, okay.
Destroy the scarcity mindset. Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier.
And so, but actually, the whole of life is always fully the whole of life. And if we somehow have a mental construct that says, I don't have it now, I don't have it yet, I'm disconnected to it, and therefore I have reason to be unhappy, then that is my own decision.
Right.
And I've come to recognize happiness is up to me. It's up to my decision. And, but the outer environment, if I'm looking for the validation out there, well, the outside is just going to be a mirror of, again, kind of my own mindset and heart set. So anyway, we're now at 2:02. I actually have been yakking a lot, mostly by myself, with a lot of help and company from Boomy. Yay, Boomy, this last hour. So I'm actually going to shift gears and go on into the other room and start my purge. I'm not really happy about that word, purge, but that's the word she uses. So I can be okay with purge. Oh, the one last thing I want to share, and maybe I even mentioned this last week. I don't remember. No, I'm getting older. My memory is not what it used to be. Anyway, I was having a coaching session a couple weeks ago with my laughter joy professional friend and coach, Ann Timpany. And while she was leading me through a guided imagery, guided meditation process, I came to see that what would be a helpful image for me was to imagine every day, no matter what pair of pants I have on, like the pants have built into the pockets, like sparkle fairy dust. And so anytime I notice that I'm walking into a room and I start to have this judgment thing going on about my clutter or the collection, or I can't find stuff, that what I'm supposed to do to lighten back up, to get back on purpose for the task I have at hand, is to reach into my pockets, pull out my imaginary sparkle fairy dust and just sparkle it all over and say, it's all holy, it's all divine, every little thing that I've had, and I've saved kind of for a reason, and so I'm just going to bless it and create the environment so that it's easy then for me to change the way I'm experiencing my relationship with all of these things. Well, as we were going on and I was describing to her this imagery that was coming up during this exercise, then another image emerged, and it was this. My pants are not only equipped with the sparkle fairy dust in the pockets, but they have a feature that's kind of like airbags on a car. When your car has some kind of impact or a quick movement suggesting danger, crash, something, the airbag inflates for safety, So my pockets, my imaginary pockets, are So, surprise to the folks who are watching this replay. I thought I was ending the recording, and then lo and behold, I stuck around, and some more people showed up in the room, and some more conversation happened, and great comments. And Lolan Fulsang joined the conversation just a few minutes ago, and shared with me how she relocated from one residence to another, and talked about her paring down process, and how freeing it was. And now Omar Bilal jumped in, and I knew Omar was from the Detroit area, that's suffered a lot of, economic change and decline. And, what you've witnessed there is something. And I also said, I know Omar is a tree surgeon, so he knows something about paring things down and then having to clean up the stuff and cart it on away to make an area a little more beautiful again. So what do you have to say, Omar? Shoot.
Well, thank you, Elaine, for letting me come on your show here. What I like to say is that clutter really bothers me. But relevant to trees, Elaine, I can show you how to come to the urban city and make a living cutting down a tree. I should write an ebook on how to run a tree business in Detroit. It's a unique situation here. But what I'm saying is that money grows on trees. Even though we have been affected by the economy, I haven't really don't phase that. You know what I'm saying? We're in the Rust Belt. And that's why I'm so excited about, this new digital, this new, human media. This is the only thing that's going to really save Detroit. I missed Robert Hearns when he came here, to my regret. I don't know what I was doing, but, it's like, I know that this is the only way to save Detroit. But back to clutter. I open a lot of doors, but I come back and close them if you let me.
Okay.
Okay. So clutter, like I said, I can show you. I can go out, make $500 before the sun sets tonight. Really, you get a tree. That's no big deal, right? However, I can go climb the tree, meticulously cut it down. It's like almost like dropping when you look at those the monstrous oak trees or ash trees. I'm up there 60, 70, 80 feet up in the air, tying them and bringing them down in this little matchbox. There's wires and garages and roofs and gutters and all type of swimming pools and everything on the ground that we don't want to hit, right? So that's clutter to me, right? In the tree. So I got to get everything in place there, meticulously, right? However, when I come down and I see all that stuff on the ground, I be, oh God, what am I going to do? And so my crew, they know me. They say, Omar, get out of here, man. Go get another job.
Right. Because they know it doesn't emotionally or mentally bother them. It's just like this neutral stuff. They got to go through the chipper. The stuff has to be taken away to, whatever landfills or disposal places that you take stuff.
Right.
Why does that bother you?
Because it's clutter. And it looked like every time I drag a limb to the chipper and I go back and there's more, it looked like I haven't done anything. But my crew, of course, they're getting paid swell, but especially my brother, he's gladly take it out. And then he gets me off the ground because, I'm a boss, right? So he's like, Omar, just go, man. I want to hear that. Don't tell me what to do. I know. Right. So I leave, go get a job. I come back and surprise, surprise, that stuff is gone. So, that's why I'm here, because, the same way you figured out, how the laughter has such good hormones and stuff. I know you got the thing on purging and decluttering, because we know how you do anything is how you do everything. See, like my room is cluttered. Basically, we had a nanny to help me and my daughter, and she folds the clothes and everything. And otherwise, it's just overwhelming. I'm too busy blabbing to take care of clutter. I only like doing what I like to do.
Now, Omar,
I'm just being honest.
Fessing up, he's saying clutter bothers me, but then you're saying, but I make choices to do things that are more fun than make an order within my own house.
Yeah.
That's rather interesting. But You won't
Okay, okay, wait,
you
let me
won't
interrupt.
change
Let me
that until
interrupt. Let
you're
me
ready to
interrupt.
change that. Go ahead.
I just want somebody else to do the clutter. Right?
Right.
Now, what were you saying?
Yeah.
Is that okay? You're laughing. We gotta laugh today. Well, I just want somebody else to do that. I mean, there are people that specialize in clutter, right?
Yeah.
Right? That's what they do. They love it. Go ahead, Elaine.
But ultimately, all of the patterns, all the
Mhm.
patterns, beliefs, and habits that you have within you,
Mhm.
you know, if you just have someone coming in and take away clutter by some basic guidelines that you've given them, A, chances are they're not going to get it quite right. And B, you're going to have all the same habits in place. So you're going to keep accumulating stuff and having a relationship with each item where it's not respected, it's not ordered, it's not set in place. So just hiring somebody isn't going to change your life and open you up to joy. With this method, and I'm not saying, you're ripe or ready for this, but I found I was ready to explore it. It just says, especially if you notice, you have more stuff than you need. And
Okay.
you're being honest with it, then there's a method to go about paring it down
Right.
where the objective is the only stuff that's in your household in each category of stuff that people have is stuff that sparks joy. If it doesn't spark joy, don't have it. If you buy it and you don't use it, don't keep getting it.
Elaine,
Right.
I would add one more thing.
Yes.
It must spark joy, but also utility.
Well, right.
Right. Okay, great. Okay, Elaine, what was the book? What's the name of the book?
Okay. It's called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up.
Okay.
The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing. Now.
So that's Francois?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, could be part of it.
Yeah.
Could be part of feng shui. Yeah.
Okay.
It's related to it, but it's really related to the mental and emotional patterns we have as human beings that then manifest in the way we order our belongings, utilize them, store them, place them, experience relationship with them. And ultimately, when we have too much stuff, then we rob ourselves of the joy that we can have with these individual items. And then they're all precious and they're all sacred rather than too much, and then we get careless with them. And it's like it then degenerates into a lack of respect and appreciation. It's like your stuff become orphans. That's a really interesting to think about it. If you bought every piece of clothing as if it were like a child that you were adopting, and you were going to take good care of it and honor it and treasure it and tell it how much you loved it, you'd then be in right relationship. Doesn't mean you only have to have 2 pairs of pants, and 3 shirts, but it's just getting to open up to a life of more sacredness, more honor, and more joy with the stuff. So that's what it's about. And I'm embarking on the journey.
Yeah, I'm with you. Take me along. Take me along. Let me hold your hand. I can say one thing.
You gotta buy the book. You gotta buy.
Okay, who wrote the book?
It's Marie Kondo. Go on Amazon.
Okay. Now, I did read a book. Like that, How to Get Organized, like 10 years ago. And one of the things.
Many of us have.
Did you read that book? You know the book I'm talking about?
Go ahead.
Omar, I watched a crew like yours take down an enormous pine tree from right in front of my place, right in front of my apartment.
Okay.
And it was the most fascinating experience. I mean, I was very sad and almost angry that tree was going. However, when I watched the man that was doing the pruning all the way up and watching, you would need to be extremely organized in order to be able to do that, and to be very be organized, but also able to kind of foresee and be planning 3 or 4 steps ahead. So I don't know why you would need to read a book on being organized. If you're a tree surgeon.
Actually, the tree is cut down before I leave the ground. See, my crew might say, "Oh my, what you doing, man? Get on up the tree." But I'm looking at the tree and I'm seeing it come down before I even leave the ground. So when I get up, it's no doubt. I said I was going to cut this over here. It may be some, action up there, and I changed the plan. But relevant to this is, first of all, like I said, I'm not a hoarder. I'm about organization here, because if I put my keys here and it's a bunch of stuff on the ground, I can't even see it. I got skiptoma. You ever heard of that word, Elaine? You the wordsmith. Skiptoma?
Never heard of it.
Skiptoma, yeah. Check it out. That's one of your words. So I'm a minimalist. So anyway, my daughter and I, she's 11 years old now. So again, I'm a single dad. So, I had to do all this stuff to keep her things together, right? And so that's why I had the people that I have come over to do everything. They marked the drawer. They started it. Man, everything was organized. But I forgot my point. Yeah. Well, so anyway, what I had one, the nanny of Fatima, right? She didn't want to throw this stuff away. She's constantly pushing it back and all that. So then I had a singer. Her name is D-Jazz, and it's also D-Jazz, and her favorite business is decluttering, right? So, I told Fatima to come downstairs and do it. I was going to pay $100, and she said, "No, Omar, you got to be there to approve that what I have to do." And I'm like, "I don't know. I go down there, I go crazy. I just want this stuff out, pick out, what we wear, what we do, get it out of here. I don't want nothing to do with it. I ain't got time for this. I got trees to cut, right? Whatever excuse." So anyway, I called D-Jazz in. She came in and sat there like, looked and just studied it, and then she said, "Okay, let's go." And she says, "Okay, would a millionaire keep this?" I'm like, "No." "Would a millionaire want this?" "No." Because I remember the book that says how to get organized. Say anything that you haven't used in 6 months is just get it away. They talk about having 3 bags: a bag you're going to donate to somewhere, a bag you're going to trash, and a bag that you're going to put in the garage, or whatever, But and that's how. So what happened again? So a couple years went by, the basement again got all junked up and frustrating. And I was thinking about, Fatima, D-Jazz has gone to North Carolina, and
you don't have somebody to help you. Okay, so
right.
Go ahead.
You know what I did? Walked out the house, take all this garbage, man. I don't want nothing. I'm starting all over again. Went to South Carolina and came back and just went for the dream. Said, a millionaire want none of this. I don't need none of it.
Okay, but then what happened? You see, you didn't change your habits. So then you still, in some ways, you just keep collecting and unordering some of the stuff you have.
Okay, so Elaine, are you saying that I have a cluttered mind? Well, look at my personality.
No. All of these discussions, whether Marie Kondo or many others, they say, there is a correlation between, what you value and the operation of your mind and your emotions to how your physical environment then is manifested with the things that you own, and whether you have a lot, and whether they're in order or disorder, whether you have cycles of that. And without being in judgment about them. Mm-hmm. I'm not suggesting that anybody begin a process of decluttering or self-inquiry unless they're moved to do it. It's like if you're moved to do it, you're moved to do it. And this, this particular blab is just here for people who may be doing it, maybe using this method. If they are starting, like many people, they'll start these decluttering things and then they get overwhelmed. And they have patterns that kind of sabotage things. So as you read into her book, she gives an explanation of why she gives the methodology she does. I'll be right there, honey. You're less likely to sabotage and end up creating not only a good new environment, but have better habits. You know what? Oh man,
I gotta ask a world class question. Go ahead.
She's got somebody interrupting. I was going to say there's a rule at my house now. For everything that comes in, something goes out.
That's smart, right? Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can answer the question. Have you read the book?
No, I haven't. I just stopped by this afternoon because I was kind of interested in what Elaine was doing.
Are you pretty good at organization and declutter your house? Your space is nice.
I have to jump back in.
So,
but hold on. I have to end my participation. Loanne, what I can do, if I make you a host, you can continue the conversation if you want to stay on.
Actually, Elaine, I need to go too. I promised myself to finish my bookkeeping this afternoon. So
right, me too. This was an impulse. I'm really glad to get out here. I got to go too. But we'll be back.
Nice to meet you, Omar.
Yeah, hopefully, thank you. Let me follow you. Hopefully, Elaine, we can discuss this some more. I'd like to know more about that book. I need some help. Okay.
If you go under Marie, go to Amazon.com. Marie Kondo, the book will come up.
Oh yeah. Would you be so kind to put that in the chat, please?
Yes.
Or you don't have to do it now. You can do it later on the replay.
If you Google the Marie Kondo method, that's in the title.
Oh yeah. Okay. Got it. All right. Great.
All right. YouTubes.
Thanks a lot. Love you, Elaine. Take care.
We'll talk later.
All right. Bye.
Fun chatting, Elaine.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, something's going on with Ma. Gotta check in on over there.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. All right. Gotta go. Attuned to the self-judgment and criticism crap that go on within my body, mind, spirit complex. That as soon as it even unconsciously is starting to go on, as I walk through a room and I'm beating on my stuff because I still have all this stuff, it's like, I'll notice the bags inflate. They inflate so that I can't miss them. And they won't deflate so I can move until I take out the stuff. Or, the air gets let out as I put my fingers in and say, okay, let's have fun with this again. Let's find our way back to joy. And, God be with me as I help feel for the zing to find everything that's really appropriate for me to keep in my environment as an object of divine function and beauty and helpfulness in my life. So that's kind of where we are. Skip, what are you thinking about all this conversation? Or are you multitasking and working in the background? I have been known to do that on myself when I show up on a blab. I also have been known to pick up my iPhone and enter a blab by mistake. And somebody thinks I'm there and I'm not there at all. I'm just on and I'm in the iPhone in my pocketbook.
That's your alter ego. That wasn't really you. It was someone else.
Yeah. It was
your imaginary self.
But I could simply assign meaning and saying there was a part of me that was there into that space, bring in energetic blessing. So out of whatever time people were spending there live and replay, they'd be getting some good value to, kind of help them wake up to become a better person, experience more joy or something on that day. Anyway, any thoughts or reflections? Are you, since last week, have you had any other thoughts, like of stuff that you want to go through, or whether you're even going to look at this book or any of the other Marie Kondo like YouTube videos that are out there?
Well, I need to go through my clothes. I'm interested that you were talking about that and showing pictures of those today. But I kind of need to go closet by closet. And I have way too many running shoes. I won't even tell you how many pairs, but it's a ridiculous number. But my wife is pressuring me to go through those too. So I do want to read the book, but I'm reading so many. 500. No, 500 would be high. But our front closet is kind of known as the running shoe closet, just to give you some idea. And I kind of hide some of the shoes in, running shoe boxes, but that doesn't always work. So, but I do want to read the book, but probably the clothes might be the next thing I attack, but I'm going to have to do it in parts because it's too much to go through otherwise.
The other thing that occurs to me, why it's a good idea to start with clothes. I mean, you put on your clothes every day. So
True.
You can be aware, if you want to, that, in the next week, in the days ahead, again, I went through this process. This one said zing. And like I used to have 25 pairs of socks, and I realized 12 would do, 3 pairs of white socks and, 4 pairs of black socks and 2 pairs of brown socks and,
socks that don't match.
Oh, yeah.
We should all let go of those, shouldn't we? Or will the other socks turn up? Is that an easy one? You just throw out the single socks?
I don't know, but I know there's some place in the universe. There's just a planet that this is like the black hole where all the missing socks in not only on planet Earth but all throughout the universe, providing other forms of life. Might wear socks too, and then they lose them. Where they go? It's like there is the planet of the socks.
Yeah.
It's so funny. You do laundry. It's like, where in the hell did the other sock go? And like, you don't find it. Sometimes you find it weeks or months later.
You find them in the wrong person's drawer. That's what happens to us. A sock will be lost, and then 4 weeks later, we'll find it in someone else's drawer. Be it stuck to another sock.
Yeah. So, Rockesteady has joined us. Words can build and destroy, a wordsmith that thrives off motivation and innovation, fusing music and ideals, business forms to opportunity. See, you never know. You're going to show up in a blab and the host is going to read your profile.
Yeah.
Hopefully to your pleasure. So people will say, follow. Anyway, so Rocksteady, won't someone else come in this room just for a little bit more playful fun before I end this blab? Or ask a question. Yeah, Miss Boomy is saying, jump on in. Well, hallelujah. Hope you have good bandwidth. And actually come on in. Hey, Rocksteady man.
Hello.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Where are you blabbing out from? Where are you blabbing out from?
I'm blabbing from Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. You're not far from my man Jim Sharp, who was the first one warming up the room. I think he's near Austin. He's a nice guy we met over on Google Plus. So how long you been hanging out? I'm a hangout host, so I probably will still be saying hanging out a lot. But where are you hanging out? How long have you been hanging out on Blab?
I'm officially a blab addict. I'm a blabaholic.
Oh no.
I've been on it for like 65 days, and I find so much value in it because I meet so many beautiful people. And outside of Blab, I've been connecting with people on Skype and Appear.im, and I've been helping other people, and they've been helping me. So it's been a beautiful experience. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's great. As long as it is fueling you.
Productive, yeah, it's very productive.
Yeah, and if it's helping build your relationships, exposure, opportunities to support and encourage others, particularly in the arena that you're finding is your passion. Thank you for folks for tweeting this show on out. And
thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, so this is the third episode of this. It's the third successive Monday. And
so are y'all talking about decluttering?
Yeah, we are. And I
go ahead.
And I've lived in the same house for it'll be 30 years next year. I've been married to the same guy for coming up on 34 years.
Congratulations.
You collect a lot of stuff. And
lots of stuff.
And then like if you grew up getting like the thrill of going to yard sales or the thrill of the bargain, you end up buying a whole lot more stuff than you needed. But it's funny how some of those habits then spill on over into the number of books you have, or how many notes you take when you're taking a course, or how many paper files you keep, or even how many favorite places you save on your computer. You begin to see, I have patterns. Okay, well, you can't get into self-condemnation, but you can notice, and you say, okay, well, so where's the place for me to start if I want to simplify my life? So on the first episode, I knew Marie Kondo's KonMari method was like out there, that it was like a New York Times best-selling book, but I hadn't really explored it yet. I just thought, if I have a show inviting other people to talk about this, I will be publicly declaring this is what I want to shift and change. And there are probably other people that might like to either converse about it, gain support or encouragement about it, and explore the process. So that's kind of what I'm doing.
What's really great, I commend you for that. Like, that's the best way for you to take that step in life, is by encouraging other people, and you'll see it manifest into your life. Because what's actually ironic is 2 weeks ago, I actually met up with Marie Kondo.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know this story was coming.
Yeah,
wow.
I met up with her, and she actually helped me. Literally, I got rid of, I mean, okay, so if I have, let me give you an example. If I have this notebook in my hand, what do you think I'm able to receive? If somebody was to give me something, I can't receive anything because I'm holding on to it. If I open it up and I do this, I can receive so much more. And oftentimes we hold on to things because of the emotional attachment and the mentality and consciousness of lack. So, I mean, I suffered from that because I grew up with parents that were constantly be like, save your money. Oh, no, keep that because you might need it one day. My grandparents lived off of the Depression, so they were constantly telling me to keep things. And by keeping things, what you're actually doing is you're preventing space for new things to come into your life. And once we start adapting the mentality of abundance, that's what's really going to help us receive more and believe we deserve more. I love her concepts. In a matter of 2 weeks, my life transformed completely. Not only did it transform my household, but it's transformed my relationships, because it'll bleed, like exactly what you said, Elaine. It bleeds over to the other side, and we keep relationships that don't serve us. That don't serve us.
So where were you that you met her? There's more to this story. Inquiring minds want to know.
I was actually in Japan.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, but then
I was in Japan, and I was reading her book. There's a book called The Art of Being Tidy, and I contacted her publishing company. Oh yeah, exactly. I have that same book.
Yeah,
it's over here.
Yeah, I've been holding it up multiple times.
I don't have the book yet. I'm going to go get it though.
It's really good, Jeremy. The book is phenomenal, and I mean, really, the basis of the book is get rid of anything that does not inspire joy.
Right. That doesn't spark joy.
Yeah, anything. Like, so if I hold on to this right here, and I'm like, does this notebook inspire joy? Even if it has my ideas or my lyrics, it's so hard to get rid of it. I mean, it's like, it's mine, you know, this is mine, my baby.
Oh,
But if
you
it
have to
doesn't
save it.
inspire joy, I got to get rid of it.
You have to save it if it has your creative work in it, though. That's the really difficult thing about being a creative person.
That's the point.
Yeah.
We're limitless as creative people. You could wake up in the morning and come up with even greater ideas. If we hold on to these ideas that no longer inspires joy, what we're doing is we're living in the past.
Yeah.
We're not allowing
Right.
ourselves.
Wow.
That's very powerful. Yep.
It's so scary. Trust me, I freaked out. I even cried. I had a panic attack. I mean, but she was like, let go of it. It doesn't inspire joy. And guess what? When I opened my lyric book, there were lyrics in there talking about my pains, my sufferings. Because I'm a musician. I'm a hip hop artist. So I'll talk about what I went through in my past. And when I read those lyrics, it's almost like I travel back in time. But when you travel back in time during moments that hurt you, it doesn't serve you.
Right.
It doesn't inspire joy. But there's this weird, nostalgic, emonic type of feeling, you know? And you get it and you're like, oh my God, I remember this moment. And You're allowing yourself to get stuck in the past. Let go of it if it doesn't inspire joy. It's so hard. Trust me. Mm-hmm. Oh man, it was like so exhausting. I felt like I got punched in the face 48 times.
Okay, so are you in the place where you're living now? How long have you lived there?
Oh, I've been living here for the last 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my place.
Okay,
yeah.
and like, do you share it with a housemate, a spouse, a partner?
With my cousin. My cousin lives here.
Okay, so there's one other person. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and a relationship with a cousin might be different than like a relationship with a spouse. Right.
Oh yeah,
right.
Both of y'all have to learn how to let go.
Yeah. Well, now my husband is seeing that I'm doing this, and he grew up with 5 brothers and pretty poor. So he's never been a thingy person, and he has far less stuff and the inclination to save stuff. So he's given me the freedom, though. He hasn't judged the way I've done things. And he's watching with great curiosity how this goes, you know. So that's good. And I could say I gain inspiration from him when I think, gee, he's lived more simply. But your point about even really getting very bold, picking up the notebook, the journal, the something, and feeling truthfully yes or no, and then honoring that and trusting that process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean,
it's scary.
It'll be a process. And so, okay. So you were in Japan for business pleasure.
I was performing out there. I got booked out there to give some keynote speeches. Yeah.
Cool.
Beautiful. Yeah. And then you called the publisher. And
I said I have to meet her because I read the book all in one plane trip. So on the plane trip, I read it and I was like, oh, before I actually go apply this, I need to meet her.
And then she was available. So
here's the thing. The publishing company wouldn't give me the contact information. So what I did was I got her manager's name. And then I got the publisher's name. And then I contacted the manager and I said the publisher told me to get in contact with her and that I wanted to do an interview. See, that's the thing about these successful people. They don't have the time to meet with you as an individual, but they have all the time in the world to get publicity.
Yeah.
So I was there to do an interview.
Okay.
Because I'm from America.
Okay. But you would think with this being on the New York Times bestseller list that she would be swamped with offers and inquiries for interviews. And
I mean, you never know the answer until you ask.
Very true. You're right.
You never. I mean, the answer will always be no until you ask.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And
I asked.
right.
Yeah.
Rock steady. Boy, I'm happy to meet you. So
Nice to meet you.
What is your, do people call you Rock?
Rocco?
Rocco.
Go.
Rocco. What a joy to meet you. What a flocking story. Wow, I love it.
Yeah, it was a beautiful story, and I'll tell you what. It's only been 2 weeks since I've implemented these things, got rid of things that didn't inspire joy. Now that's almost like a habit, and like literally, I will speak to things, I will speak to people, I will speak to old friends, I will speak to photos, I will speak to furniture, I'll speak to them like this. I say, hey, I appreciate our relationship. I love you. I really think you're a beautiful person. I think you're a beautiful notebook. You've served your purpose, but unfortunately, I don't believe that it inspires joy in my life anymore. We just want different things. So thank you for your service. I appreciate you. And our relationship is now completed. Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I happen to be along my spiritual journey, spiritual path. I'm a student of the Course in Miracles. And the Course in Miracles,
I love that book. Yeah.
Okay. So the Course in Miracles really is about opening us to, first of all, shift the way we identify ourselves, but also to expand our experience of how we relate to anything. As could you be curious to experience it as a holy relationship, no matter what it is, if it exists at all. It's like it's the presence of the divine manifest. It has a meaning and a purpose. You as a human, you assign the meaning and a purpose, which in our polarized way of thinking then says it helps us, it hurts us. In the divine scheme of thing, it's like everything is kind of like neutral. And it's almost when you get beyond that polarity, then your relationship can be anything, can be in this place of joy with it or setting it free, because it's just also divine stuff, so
definitely we've been programmed to attach ourselves and put too much control on the meaning of the relationships that we have in our life. But what we need to realize is that true love is freedom. It's freedom. It's not any attachment. It's just the willingness to let go and to enjoy the moment, enjoy the specific purpose that it serves in our lives, whether it's to shed some light on our own personal qualities as a person, or to teach us a lesson in the human experience. It's just all a beautiful thing. I used to suffer from that all the time. I used to be like, oh, this girl, she's the love of my life. I need to keep her in my life. And the more I kept her, try to keep her in my life, the more she would slip away. And I'm like, what is going on here? And like, the more I would try to keep money, I'd be like, I need to save. I'm like, what in the world? Why am I always broke? Why am I overdrafting? But now that I give away money and I'll spend money to invest money, and then I do things that I enjoy and that inspires my happiness. Oh man, it's just like that energy just flows through you and you make more. You know?
Yeah. Right. And then you are not separate from that flow. You are in that flow. You're part of the flow. You are observing the flow. You're in the flow. Yeah.
You're co-creating.
Yep.
Great.
We have another viewer come in. Diane Porter is here. Hi, Diane. We have an open seat. If you'd like to join the conversation, it's fine if you join in and just ask us what we've been talking about, and we'll tell you. But this is episode 3 of Declutter Day, and on episode 2, that's when I first started weaving in my beginning explorations of the Marie Kondo, the Japanese art of tidying method. And Marie Kondo, suggests that when people do this process, they do it over a period of months. Really going through category by category, going through their stuff, collecting like all the clothes together. You missed my picture
Is that what her process says, Elaine? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I read it like 2 weeks ago because from what I got out of the book was that it's just a big extreme, like you go hard all the way at one time, you know?
Well, but she says rather than start out like by location or room, you start out by category. So like with clothes, she'll say, gather all the clothes in like one place and get shocked like by how much you have.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like 20 trash bags and stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, it depends. I mean, me, I have most of the stuff from my closet, and I have one suitcase with like other seasonal stuff. I put it this late this morning on my bed, and so when I finish this, I'm going through the purge. And
how are you doing so far? Are you feeling good?
Oh yeah. And once again, I'm doing it publicly, and because I mean, I'm an energy medicine practitioner. I've done Reiki and other things. I'm sensitive to qualities of subtle energy. Right. And so I will feel, and when I'm also in alignment with something, I mean, I energetically have a feel. It's like divine energy is moving through me, and then I'm really clear and I'm really connected with what the stuff is. So it will take me a little bit to kind of get into that when I'm there. But then just like you said, I will have this sense of dialogue or communion with each item and ask. And I have to dare to set aside my usual thinking, like figuring out the function and the utility and how much I spent on it. That's where we have to get bold and trust. We can gain a sense of what is appropriate for us to keep or not, and we keep it if it sparks joy. The other thing that's interesting, when I've had a couple periods in my life where there have been synchronicities happening that bring a new event, a new sphere of service into my life, and or there might be just words that keep on showing up in a very short period of time, again and again and again. Well, in the last three weeks, this whole thing about sparking, it just keeps showing up everywhere. So with Marie Kondo, it sparked joy. With Teresa de Grosbois, who's the author of this book, Mass Influence, whose program I got to watch on Friday. She was on this a summit by Lynn Sanders. She talks about the whole process of, connecting with the people you're meant to connect with to, you could say, grow your influence, expand the radiance of your message, your work, and your purpose. But it starts with the spark. It ignites and then has to be fueled, by your passion and by your attention. And as it goes along, it really turns into a fire that will burn away purposefully all the things that need to move into a different form, that need to be let go of for your being at the place, or you're reaching the people, or you're making those connections. You're being that, I'll call it, being a healing presence in the world. And I use those words, being a healing presence in the world, because I actually used to be a bedside cancer nurse. I'm a holistic nurse, but in a spiritual sense, that's what I hope humankind can wake up to feel. Each one of us, no matter where we are serving a perfect purpose. And if we come to, accept ourselves, love ourselves right where we are, we'll be part of that, I'll call it that force field of love, which is, it's in the process of shifting this planet right now. We live in most interesting times, for sure.
It's happening.
There's a huge paradigm shift happening where we're called to make a decision, and we're called to make a decision quickly, whether it's to the light or to the dark, and it's a beautiful thing. There's a paradigm, and I'm seeing so many people becoming awakened and conscious, and it's really exciting these times, and especially with the power of the internet. With the power of the internet, you see how powerful Blab is. You're like the 70th person I've met today that's positive. That's why I'm addicted to this stuff, because I just have a whole bunch of positive Blab friends. Look, Boomy's one of them, And then I'm involved with about 4 different masterminds in the morning, and then I do a little thing at night called How I Use Hip Hop to Manifest My Dreams, and then a whole bunch of people show up for that, and then I meet more people, and it's more positivity and more fortification. Iron sharpens iron. Spark, ignite, fuel, fire. Kaboom, kaboom. Holy shift.
Woo! Holy shift. So I'm thrilled to meet you. And I love that you said the words holy shift, because that's actually the name of the show that I've held over on Google Plus for the last year. The Holy Shift Show. Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shift.
Holy shift.
Holy shift.
And at Christmas time, we said, holy shiftness. Holy shiftness. Holy shiftness. Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, holy shiftness.
Holy shiftness. And who is coming in is Richard. And Richard joined us last week. Richard is from Ghana. We had a fantastic conversation last week talking about cultural differences. You know what? I'm trying to let him in. You know what, Jeremy? I'm going to make you my co-host.
Okay.
And see, can you let him in? I don't know why. I was trying to let him in.
Yeah,
I couldn't let him in. If he tries to come in, he can come in.
I clicked open, so there it is. There it goes.
There. Okay. Richard, we'd love to see you instead of the UCam. But we're so happy you're here. Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Anyway, how are you all?
We're good. And Richard, meet Rocco. Oh,
Yeah,
Rocco Steady.
Rocco Steady. I don't know. Is that the right pronunciation? Rocco Steady.
So this guy here, of course, when this shows up in replay, I don't know which box he'll be in.
We don't know.
But this man met Marie Kondo. So I'm doing this show right now. It looks like every Monday. And I won't be. So I'm just extending the invitation. Come often if you're so moved and if you're free. Because love what you got to say, Rocco Steady. Rocco. Ho, 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 ho. Okay, so Richard.
Okay.
Did you talk about your being on Blab with other folks? This was the most interesting conversation we had.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
So Elaine, I don't mean to interrupt, but we're getting feedback from someone, and I don't know. Maybe I should hop out and we'll try to find out who it is.
Richard, do you have earbuds? Earbuds always helps.
I'm not sure I'm the one. I'm not the one.
Okay.
You know what?
Might have been Rocco actually, because I don't hear it now.
Anyway, well he said he was lagging, so he hopped off to listen. Okay, so we've been on about an hour and a half now, and for the first good long time, it was me. It was basically me and one person in the chat stream. It was perfect.
Wow.
But I can say I like it a little more when there are others to actually talk with. Oh, and Miss Boomy, you know how to do funny animated GIFs. How? It's interesting. She has a cute little gift there. Isn't that fun? Anyway, so do you have any reflections today, Richard, on this topic? I have now begun this process where I'm going to clear through my clothes. And I was showing, I have my clothes on a bed in the bedroom, and that's that's 90% of them, but it's a lot of clothes. And of course, we do have different seasons here where I live. If I lived in one place that was warm all year long, I wouldn't need so many clothes, but I have clothes for 4 different seasons that feel different. And also, as a part of fashion that I enjoy, I mean, I really have different colors of clothes for different seasons, and I enjoy those vibrant differences. I really do.
Okay. Oh, that is great. That is when you are fortunate to go through 4 different types of season. Unfortunately, for people like us in Ghana, we only have 2 seasons. Most of us have not seen snow before. We only have the wet season and the dry season. So, and the wet season are the days we call the rainy days, and the dry seasons are those times that the sun is a bit high. Apart from that, nothing else more. So enough in Ghana and most of the sub-Saharan Africa, we don't have that kind of different seasons or weather system. It's only 2. So unfortunately for me, I've not seen a snow before.
So I'm typing a little goodbye and thank you to Miss Bumi Benjamin, who was here.
I learned echoing. Am I echoing?
We have someone tell us that you are. That's why we asked you to have earbuds.
Okay, then let me use my headphone rider.
Or headphones. Perfect.
Okay.
That's nice. And actually, for anybody who's watching that's kind of new to Blab, but they found their way here, and you might be watching this on a replay on a YouTube or replay on the Blab, and maybe you've never come on a Blab. If you actually want to join into the conversation, it really is a courtesy to the host, whoever's hosting the show, to just have earphones on before you come in. Then it's not a question of whether sound is coming out of your computer, where it's positioned relative to your mic, and it will greatly help reduce any possibilities, for there being audio problems. And there are some hosts, if your audio or video isn't working good, they say, "I'm sorry, goodbye," and they're just gonna X you on out because we want to be able to keep the conversation going. So
unfortunately for me, I didn't bring my headphone today to the office. I'm still in the office. I've just closed.
Okay. So you know what? If
that's okay.
If you can, I don't know how easily available they are for you, but if you can make an investment in a little set of earbuds, they're so small, and you will have an earphone jack, and then you just keep them in your pocket or your wallet.
I have a lot of them, but unfortunately for me today, it seems I left it out.
Yeah, you are forgiven.
I hope, what's the name? Bed 10-15-76. I don't know. I'll manage to see how I can probably talk with less echo naturally, so that the echo by the system will also reduce.
I'm finishing typing this thing to Boomy. Anyway, so maybe I'll see her on another occasion. So we had Skip Bieber come by, and we still have Diane Porter around. Diane, if you have any questions about the KonMari method, or if you'd like some encouragement to get your own decluttering process going, or to revive one that may have gotten stalled, my pattern for decluttering would be to, typically a couple times a year when I'm changing like seasonal decorations in my house. As I'm putting away the Christmas tree and December decorations that I put up typically early in December and have up for a whole month because I just love them. That's great joy in my life. Mm-hmm. I have a Christmas tree, just loaded to the gills with ornaments. But that's my joy, to go into that room and see the sparkle and the lights and remember the joy of gathering the different ornaments and actually every year when I put up my Christmas tree. That is just great joy and play for me. So I like doing that. It's going to be very interesting when I get to the Christmas ornaments and go through them and sort them out and see how many to pare down to. That's going to be very, very, very interesting. Anyway, thank you, Richard, for tweeting this on out.
I just want my colleagues who are on Twitter to be alerted that we are live. At least a lot of them know Jeremy and your good self. So
yeah,
they will really come on board. Anytime I come on Blab and I look for people I know around, when I see them in any room, I jump in there. Because as we all know, they say birds of the same feathers flock together.
Right.
So,
and Richard, we may have talked about it on the last show, but I love the word flock. I love the word flock. And the very first show that I did over on the Holy Shift show, it was all about F words. And then I said my favorite F word I think is flock. Like, it's just fun getting people to gather together, have fun, share a conversation, find some solutions, find things that work in people's lives.
Yeah, well, that's great.
So
I happen to, I work here in Ghana in the State Audit Department. So I happen to meet a colleague who is also an auditor from UK National Audit Office.
Uh-huh.
And we were having chat off table in our lunchtime. And I did some presentations for them. And the guy was confessing that, Richard, we were thinking Ghana, Africa, how well are the people experienced in auditing? What is their level of their knowledge? But he said he has confessed that the people here, the way they even speak the English language, the way they are able to control their vocabularies is far even better than those who were born into it and started speaking it. Because some of us, you have to go to school before you can speak the English language. Because in the market and in all other social events, most likely it is the Ghanaian language that people speak. We have other Ghanaian language which are more popular that people speak. And the education system here is not much more penetrated as it is in Europe. So if you are not that much, or you have not been to school before, then the English language becomes a problem. But those who have been to school and who can, you can point them to be a bit intelligent, then I tell you that when they speak the language, they speak it with much more authority.
Mm-hmm.
When they write with much more accuracy, probably than some English people.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's very interesting. So you appreciated his comments and observations and what he was able to glean and really appreciate in a much deeper and better way than he would have imagined. That's quite something. I want to this is a little off topic for what we were just talking about.
Yeah, but I was just putting this across to venture into your topic. I'm setting that as a preamble to go into your topic for the day: breathe, laugh, purge, clothes. I believe, irrespective of wherever you are geographically, irrespective of however your health, if your health standard or status is situated, whether you are diabetic, you have BP, or whether maybe you are physically challenged of a sort, and also irrespective of your social standing in terms of finances, whatever the challenge you may be facing now, which you think others may look at you at a disadvantaged way, I think in life, the most important thing we all need to do is to learn to overcome our challenge. Some may not be overcome physically, but whatever you overcome in your mind, you have overcome it totally. And connecting to breathe and laugh, when the problem comes or you know you are facing your difficulties, at the time you find yourself in the crevices of life, when especially you are alone and you feel bad, you feel disadvantaged to your peers. Ellen, you are saying that the person should breathe. So the first step is just breathe. And when you breathe, the bad, faithless odor in you comes out. And what is left is the strength within. And that little strength, because it is now in there alone, grows and take over your whole body. Then automatically, now you can laugh. And when you laugh, that is where the strength comes and you define your purpose, why you must still endure and continue. So that is why you identify your purpose in life and still continue doing your good works and learning more. But if you allow the problem to be in there without briefing it out, then the problems will overwhelm you. And you will come, I'm sorry to say, you will definitely be on this earth to be disadvantaged to others, but not to you yourself alone. Anybody who feels disadvantaged to himself or herself is also a burden and disadvantage to the people you think you love. So if you really know you want to make people you love happy because you want the best for them, don't feel inferior, don't feel disadvantaged. Let your strength come out, and the people you love will laugh. And that is the most important thing.
And yet we do have these challenges of, like, as elders for our children.
Yeah.
You know, we can guide them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're going to follow our guidance. Sometimes they're going to get the points we're making. Sometimes they're not going to get it quite as quickly as we might like. And then, you know, we have to come back to our own point of reflection and just say, okay, but I still have to love them right there at their leading edge, and recognize that no matter what's kind of showing up on the outside, there is still something pure and holy and vital, you know, on the inside, and just keep recognizing that. So sometimes even when the words stop, the connection is there, the appreciation is there. And sometimes, you know, again, our happiness isn't dependent on the exterior appearance of something in another person. It's if we're having difficulty with it, and a judgment and a sense of pain inside about how this other environment or person is, it's kind of like a mirror for us to look back at ourselves and say, you know, but in this moment, I could be at peace anyway. And in this moment, I could open to joy anyway. And when it comes to relationship or objects in our environment that it's time to let go of, we can also, just as you said, we can open up to joy. And if we don't feel like it, if that even feels hard, we can even do the kind of fake it till you make it thing, saying, God help me. I don't see it yet, but God help me.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Today I had a quiet time before coming to work, and the reflection of today was based on a word of God. And I know that story, we all know of it. Jeremy and Ellen, I hope you remember the story of Naaman in the Bible.
You may recap the story for me.
Okay. Naaman was an army commander who was
an army commander. Okay.
Yeah, who had a leprosy. I hope you remember that story. An army commander who had a leprosy. But it happened that there was a Jew lady who is a maid servant to the army commander's house. So one day, when Naaman took off his shirt, the servant saw it, the lady servant saw it, maid saw it, and told the Madam, I've seen your husband has got leprosy. I know a man in my town who can heal him. And that was the story when the man went to Elisha to bathe the Jordan 3 times. Do you remember that story?
I don't know that story.
Jeremy, what about you?
I think so, but again, I've read the whole Bible a couple times, but sometimes the more remote stories don't stick in my mind well.
Okay. The most important thing is not this. I don't want to talk about the story, but I want us to learn about what I picked up today from that passage. You can find that I'm sure it will be around 2 Kings chapter 5. Yeah, 2 Kings chapter 5. You'll find that in 2 Kings chapter 5. And this is what happened. The Bible described the man as the one who has brought freedom, who has won a lot of territories for the kingdom. Therefore, he is more of a lieutenant to the king as at that time. And there was a whole lot of, laurels being mentioned by the Bible about the man. But getting close to the statement ending of all the laurels and praises bestowed on Naaman, they say, but. Sometimes when some people praise you and later on add the word but, it seems they've killed the entire story.
But it was really good. But.
And one thing in life is, if you are down, if you feel bad, if you think you are the most disadvantaged person on earth, each and every one person you think is ahead of you has got bats. But just that we who think we are more bad, or we are more little than others, or we are more inferior, or we are more disadvantaged than most of our colleagues are, have decided to exhibit our bats on a platform of pity. And therefore,
did you say, was your last word pity?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on a platform of pity. Yeah, Pity.
And quick question: were you saying the word bad, B-A-D, or were you saying butts, like B-A-T, B-U-T-S?
B-U-T, butts.
Like, yeah, but that.
Yeah.
But okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So most likely, when we feel disadvantaged to our colleagues, we use our but in life, forgetting that those we are comparing ourselves to have also got bats. Everyone has got bats. So we put our own on the temple of pity and preach it to the whole world. Exhibit it as a trade fair show and tell the world we are inferior. That one, I'll urge everyone listening and all of us to learn a cue from that. That anytime we are in distress moments, anytime we find ourselves on the cliff of life, anytime we find ourselves in the crevices of life, is because there has been bats introduced in our life and our mind has accepted it. Immediately that comes up, Ellen, your point will do. Breathe, laugh, and let it go. And remember that so far as we are humans, we will continuously remain totally imperfect. But what we all strive to do is to reach a point of perfection.
True.
That which no one will reach. But the pursuit of perfection continuously will always keep us active for not doing the wrong things all the time. By making sure that we do most things right more often than we doing the wrong thing. Right. So
and I I want to weave back what you're saying back to the topic, which is meant to to draw people here who want to shed the things, and especially the conspicuous consumption things in their life.
Okay.
To simplify, and to be in the place where they can feel more of these qualities of consciousness and heart and spirit and connection and service. And for many of us, and a lot in Western culture, we've accumulated so much stuff, and then it becomes a distraction, and then it's just all about maintaining and managing all this stuff we have. And so our aim is to find a way to get through this process without and breaking down the self-sabotage that we may do, and getting hung up in patterns of where we make a little headway, but then we stop. And just like you said, then either others or we ourselves, we start reciting all these litanies of, well, I could do it, but I can't. Or I could do it, but this isn't happening today. Or I could forge forward, but somebody was going to help me, and they aren't, and always find a reason to veer off the path of joy, fulfillment, connection, service. And so, we want to come together. We want to encourage each other. We want to remind each other, keep it real simple. Breathe, smile, laugh, keep breathing, keep smiling, keep laughing until you then connect with that inner core of your heart, your light, your love, your compassion, your joy. Yes, your joy. That's what we want to do. So I want to thank you for coming in to kind of spark us back into a lot about what this is about. It is uncovering our goodness and being in the mindset and the heart set of love and compassion and service and joy. And so
maybe before I go, let me drop the last one,
a quick one, because I have to end the blab and begin
the word brief. If you look at you go through the entire Bible and you look at the word brief, anytime you see the word brief used, it's either life is given to someone or someone losing his life.
Brief, B-R-I-E-F.
Yeah, your word,
B-R-I-E-F.
No, brief.
Oh, grief.
Yeah,
greed.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Grief.
Anytime you go into the Bible and see the word breathe,
okay,
you will see that anytime you see breathe, it is a life-giving thing that God is giving to someone. So when Elijah was even going to resurrect the dead girl, he breathed into the lady and the lady resurrected. And when God created man, what gave man life was breath. And God breathed into man. And the other option is that it's the same way, the same breath. They said the last breath and the person died. The last breath and he died. And the last breath and he died. So the truth is, if you breathe and you don't die, you will surely succeed. Amen.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Yeah.
And So I appreciate you weaving your heart and spirit into our conversation here again today. Thank you. And a couple other people showed up. Little fella 222 said, "I'm waiting for the Purge close section." Oh,
was that a troll?
Fella, I don't know. I laugh when I take my clothes off. You know what? We're ending. I don't think he's still here anymore anyway.
He vanished before I could do anything. I was trying to figure out what to do.
I'm not bothered. I'm waiting for the Purge close section. That could be read many different ways.
It could.
I laugh when I take my clothes off.
Yeah, it's the second one. I guess that's you're right.
We're talking about laughing.
Yeah, it's true.
I laugh when I take my clothes off and look at myself sometimes. Anyway, so okay. We're gonna send this one to a close. And I'm going to walk into the other room and go through this purge and sort and discard, so I can only be keeping the clothes that spark joy, and let that fuel me on to the next category, which she suggests is books. That one is gonna seem a little scarier to me.
That one's very tough.
And so as I finish clothes and then get on to books, and I will take some pictures along the way, I will have to remember what Sherry Valentine told me. She said, let the process be sacred. And if you look at the words sacred, S-A-C-R-E-D, you could rearrange them and you could get very scared. So if I'm feeling scared about the process, I'll have to remember, oh yeah, this could be sacred. Oh yeah, this could be divinely meaningful. Oh yeah, this could even be joyful and fun if I open the door to that. So that will be my intention. So I'm going to sign on off, folks. Been here about, 2 hours.
And hey, it's shorter than the last one. I got to go.
Shorter than the last one.
I got to go.
You got to go.
All right.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks, Elaine.
All right. Over on out. And folks, this is Laughing Elaine. I got a real nice profile over on Google Plus. Google.com/plus Elaine Nieberding. And I have a website, but it needs updating. It's called yeslaugh.com. And anyway, I hope you'll join me again sometime for the Flocker Room over here on Blab for Declutter Day, which will typically be on Mondays, or on the Holy Shift Show, which is a ongoing upliftment and conversation series that we do on Hangouts on Air. And sometimes we also simulcast those on Crowdcast, which is another great engagement platform, a little bit more like Blab over here, and easier for people to come on in and participate than sometimes it is coming on into Hangouts. But anyway, we love Blab. Over on out. Breathe. Smile. Laugh. And I wish all of you who have been watching well with exploring decluttering, and perhaps you'll pick up the book by Marie Kondo, The KonMari Method, and join our ongoing conversations. Thank you.